Bare lamplight glitters on slick cobblestones, as each footprint seems to catch flame and vanish. London's East End stretches, as if sighing, beneath the weight of its own secrets. A low moan pulls you toward the fog-choked alley. There, beneath, a flickering gas lamp, lies Evelina Worth, her silk dress damp and stained, head resting against bruised knuckles. The scent of laudanum sweet and sickening wraps around her like a lover's whisper. Her breath rises and falls, each exhalation. A soft confession. Forgive me. You lean closer, and she opens one eye, pupils glazed and distant. Her voice is a feathered whisper. He promised. He'd be back. Behind you, the rattled clatter of carriage wheels stops short. A tall man, his top hat tilted low, approaches. In his hand, a small glass bottle half empty and half lethal. He clears his throat, the sound sharp enough to split the thick hush of London's night. Forgive me, she repeats, yet her tone shifts. Not a plea, but not quite accusation either. More a promise. A tether between life and something darker. The man kneels, his coat brush against velvet, but his eyes hold none of the gentleness one expects in a gentler world. Drink, he whispers, offering the bottle. She tries and fails to steady her trembling fingers. You want to shout, to tear him away, but something about the way her lip trembles freezes you. Her breathing slows, then stops. You see clearly the cracks of despair glistening across her face. The man's breath catches. He watches, uncertain. Then he turns. Your eyes lock on his silhouette disappearing into the mist, leaving you alone with the victim of a pact darker than any crime written. In ink? Why did he leave her? Is she really gone or suspended in some liminal haze between worlds? Your heart pounds. Every beat asks, who is he? What had he promised? And can you save Evelina, or is she already lost to the fog? You drop to your knees beside her. Her chest moves so faintly, it could be your imagination. Then again, hope ignites. But as her eye snaps open, it's not recognition that blooms. It's dread. Beware the sisters, she rasps. And then dash darkness. What sisters? Who feared them? And what does Evelina mean? Beware the sisters. The morning breaks not with sunlight, but with grayness a wet, clinging gray that crawls through every alley and every soul. London awakens reluctantly, its chimneys exhaling sighs of coal smoke and secrets. But you are not asleep. How could you be, after last night? Evelina's words still hum in your mind. Beware the sisters. Those 3 syllables have burrowed under your skin, whispering with every passing thought. Who were they? Why would she warn you? And that man, the stranger in the top hat, why did his footsteps sound so deliberate, as if each step carried intent? The parlor where you sit smells faintly of burnt toast and damp wool. Mrs. Crowthorne, your landlady, fusses in the kitchen, muttering curses about the butcher shorting her on bacon again. Her world is simple, predictable. She doesn't know about the alley, or Evelina, or the cold fingers of dread that have been tightening around your throat since dawn. You stare at the small, folded piece of paper on the table, the one the constable handed you before shoving Evelina's still breathing body into the back of a cart. Opium, he'd said with a sneer, as if her suffering was an inconvenience. An ugly smear on the city's otherwise polished veneer. Another one, oh them, laudanum girls. Cheap, dirty habit. Best to let him rot. The note isn't hers. It was pressed into her gloved hand. The ink is smudged, the writing frantic. St. Hello's midnight. Bring nothing. Trust no one. You trace the words again, your finger pausing on the jagged line of the final letter. A name? A warning? A trap? By nightfall, the city feels different hungrier. Somehow gas lamps glow like tired sentinels. their light diffused by mist that rolls in from the docks. The Thames carries with it the sour tang of rot and salt, mingled with something metallic blood. Perhaps, and always, always that faint sweetness on the wind, the smell of opium smoke curling through shuttered windows, hiding sins and promises alike. You clutch the note in your coat pocket and make your way toward St. Hello's. The streets grow quieter as you near the edge of Whitechapel, where the respectable folk dare not wander. Here, shadows don't just follow, they watch. Every rustle behind you sends a chill crawling down your spine. Are you being followed? Or is it just the city itself, breathing too close? The church looms ahead, black against the sky, its steeple, slicing upward like a dagger meant for heaven. The door hangs ajar, as if someone has been waiting. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of candle wax and mildew. Pews sit crooked, their wood cracked like tired bones. You step forward, your boots whispering against the warped floorboards, dot and then movement. A figure steps from the shadows. A woman, tall, elegant. Her hair is pinned beneath a black veil that obscures her face, but her voice is velvet, dark, and smooth. You shouldn't have come, she says, and for a moment you think she's warning you. Then she tilts her head, a strange, predatory smile curving her lips beneath the veil. But since you have? From behind her, two others emerge, sisters. If not by blood, then by something far more binding. One with hair the color of firelight, curls cascading over her shoulders. The other pale, almost ghost-like, her eyes sharp enough to cut glass. Realize, with a sinking weight in your chest, what Evelina meant. These are the sisters. Why am I here? You manage to ask, though your voice cracks on the last word, dot. The woman in the veil glides closer. She doesn't walk, she glides, her feet silent, her presence immense. Because you were chosen, she says simply, as if that word should explain. Everything? Chosen for what? Her smile deepens, and something in you wants to run, to tear out of this place and never look back. But then another voice, low and desperate, cuts through the stale air. Don't. It says that. You turn sharply. In the corner, half hidden by shadow, is a man disheveled, gaunt, his eyes hollowed by sleeplessness and fear. His wrists bear the faded bruises of bindings, and his voice trembles as he pleads, don't listen to them. Don't believe what they promise. They'll take everything from you. The sisters don't react. The one with firelight hair only tilts her head and says, almost sweetly, oh, Thomas, still bitter, are we? The pale sister steps forward now, her eyes fixed on. You. Do you know what London really is? She asks, her voice soft, melodic. You don't answer. You can't. It's hunger, she continues. Hunger dressed as civility. Men in Parliament debating laws, while their wives sip laudanum in gilded rooms. Children coughing in the workhouses, while their fathers drown their wages in smoke-filled dens. And us. Her smile is sharp now, a glint of steel beneath the silk. We are simply the ones who understand it best. Thomas shakes his head violently. They'll bleed you dry, he spits. Make you one of them. I've seen it. God help me. I've seen it. The woman in the veil silences him with a single sharp look. Then she turns back to you, her tone calm, measured, almost kind. Evelina was one of ours, she says. Until she wasn't. She tried to run. Tried to warn others. But you saw her, didn't you? You saw what happens to those who turn their back on family. Your chest tightens. Evelina, the way her hand trembled as she whispered, the way her breath rattled in the alley, the way her eyes darted to the shadows, as though something or someone was hunting her even then. The woman steps closer until she is just a breath away. You can see, through the thin black veil, the curve of her lips as she whispers, you don't have to end up like her. Stay. Listen. Learn what power feels like. London belongs to those who dare to take it. 1,000 thoughts spiral through your mind. Fear, curiosity, anger, and, buried beneath it all, something darker, something dangerous. Because for the briefest moment, you wonder, what would it feel like to take that power? Then glass shatters. A brick crashes through the church window, scattering shards across the altar. Get out! A voice bellows from outside, raw with fury. The sisters don't flinch. The pale one smirks. The fiery-haired one laughs, low and delighted. Only the veiled woman reacts by turning back to you and murmuring, so quietly you almost miss it. They've found us. Decide now. The sound of hurried footsteps floods the silence, heavy boots pounding closer. And in that moment, every choice you've ever made feels like it has led you here, to this rotting church, to these women with their honeyed voices, and poisoned smiles, to the brink of something you don't yet understand. You can stay. You can run. But you know, with a terrible clarity, that whichever path you choose will mark you forever. Then the doors explode inward. Light floods the church, and figures in dark coats storm in, their faces hidden, their voices sharp with orders you can't quite make out. One of them grabs your arm, yanking you toward the door. You don't want to be here, he snarls. You don't know what they are. Behind you, the sisters watch in silence, their expressions unreadable. And then the veiled woman speaks, her voice slicing clean through the chaos. You can run if you like, she says, but you'll come back. They always do. Outside, the fog swallows you whole. You stumble down the steps, your heart hammering, your mind reeling. Who are those men? Rescuers? Hunters? Something worse? And why, even now, with your lungs burning and your hands shaking, do you feel the phantom? Weight of her gaze still on you? You stop at the corner, gasping for breath, and that's when you see it slipped into your coat pocket, though you never felt the touch. A single plain card, the Queen of Spades, and across her face, in looping black ink, Midnight, Dock 13. And why does a part of you, despite the fear, ache to go? The Thames doesn't sleep. Not for the tides, not for the rats, and certainly not for you. By the time you reach Dock 13, the river has swallowed the moonlight whole, leaving only the dim orange halos of oil lamps swaying from rusted posts. The docks smell of brine, sweat, and secrets the sort that never stay buried for long. The note in your pocket burns like a brand against your ribs. Midnight, Dock 13. Come alone, alone. You think bitterly, gripping the coat tighter around your shoulders. Alone is the only way you've ever come here. The planks creak under your boots, each step a warning to whoever or whatever waits in the dark. A low whistle cuts through the fog, not sharp, not threatening, almost playful. You came. A voice says, smooth as polished mahogany. From the shadows, a man emerges, his suit impeccable, though the salt air has curled the edges of his cravat. His smile doesn't reach his eyes, and those eyes gleam like wet obsidian, calculating and cold. You're braver than you look, he says, taking a slow step closer. Or more desperate. You steady your voice, though your hands betray you, trembling in the pocket of your coat. Who are you? Who I am doesn't matter, he says lightly. Not yet. What matters is that you're here. That means you're ready to understand what Evelina never could. The name freezes your lungs. Evelina. You almost see her again, skin pale under the gaslight, breath shallow, fear etched deep into her bones. What do you want from me? You ask. His smile widens, though it feels less like warmth and more like a wolf baring its teeth. It's not what I want, he says. It's what you need. He gestures to the end of the dock, where a door hangs half off its hinges. leading into a warehouse you swear wasn't there before. Go on, he urges, voice lilting with a strange amusement. They're waiting. Every instinct screams at you to run, to vanish into the fog and never look back. But something heavier than fear drags your feet forward. A terrible curiosity, sharp enough to slice reason into ribbons. Inside, the warehouse hums like a living thing. Candles flicker in iron sconces, throwing shadows across the faces of men and women gathered in quiet clusters. Their clothes are expensive, but their eyes are hollow, pupils blown wide like Evelina's had been. The air is thick with smoke-sweet, heavy, cloying. It snakes into your lungs, leaving your head light, your thoughts fuzzed at the edges. And then you see her, the veiled woman. She stands near the center of the room, hands folded neatly, veil shimmering under the candlelight. The other two sisters flank her, one with her copper curls spilling loose, the other pale and sharp as porcelain. You feel their eyes on you the moment you step forward. Welcome, the veiled woman says, her voice low and melodic. A sound that slides under your skin like silk. You want to speak. The man answers, but your throat tightens. You've seen enough to know there are forces in this city that ordinary men cannot fathom. She continues, each word deliberate, measured. Forces that devour the weak and reward the daring. Which are you? Your voice finally returns, hoarse but steady. What do you want from me? What we want, she says, is irrelevant. What we offer, that is what matters. The pale sister steps forward, holding out a small glass vial filled with a liquid that gleams like melted moonlight. One drop, she says, her voice soft but laced with danger. And you will see London as it truly is. The deals made in shadow, the bargains struck in blood, the power that waits for those willing to claim it. Your hands remain at your sides. You don't take the vial. What's the price? You? Asked. The fiery-haired sister laughs, low and melodic, shaking her head as though you've missed the point entirely. The price, she says, is everything. The veiled woman tilts her head, studying you as though you're some rare specimen. On a scientist's table, Evelina thought she could escape that price, she says. But London has a way of collecting what it's owed. Evelina's face flashes again in your mind, her fear, her trembling, her whispered warning. Beware the sisters. You take a step back. No, you say, I'm not like her. I'm not like you. The man with the obsidian eyes appears at your shoulder before you realize he's moved. His hand settles lightly on your arm, not gripping, not restraining, but still heavy with implication. Everyone thinks that at first. He murmurs. Everyone believes they can walk away, but you'll be back. They all come back. You wrench free and stumble toward the door, lungs burning with the thick sweetness of the smoke. The dock air hits your face like a slap, sharp and cold, but it's not enough to clear the dizzy fog clinging to your mind. Behind you, the warehouse door slams shut, sealing the hum of voices and candlelight inside. You don't look back. Not yet. By the time you reach your flat, your legs are trembling, your coat damp with river mist. You collapse into the chair by the window, pressing your palms hard against your eyes, as if you can blot out the images burned there, the hollow-eyed faces, the vial gleaming like a promise, the veiled woman's voice smooth and certain. The price is everything. Sleep does not come. When the knock comes sharp, urgent, you jolt upright, heart thundering. Mrs. Crowthorne's voice filters through the wood, high and anxious. Telegram for you, dear. Came special delivery. Your fingers fumble with the latch, and when the door swings open, the old woman thrusts the envelope into your hand before bustling away, muttering about strange hours and stranger company. The envelope is thick, the paper expensive. The seal black wax pressed with the shape of a spade. You tear it open. Inside, One sentence in looping script. You've seen the hunger. Now you must feed it. Midnight, Limehouse. Ask for the lantern room. Your pulse spikes. You've heard whispers of Limehouse, of the dens tucked between narrow alleys where reality bends, and the smoke shows visions you can't forget. And though every rational thought screams against it, a part of you knows you will go. You have. 2. Because Evelina had been right about one thing. There's no escaping once they've seen you. What waits in the lantern room? What visions will the smoke reveal? And when the sisters finally show you London's true face, will you recognize yourself in it? The fog over Limehouse tastes of rust and regret. It clings to your skin, seeps into your coat, and curls under. Your collar like the fingers of something that doesn't want to let you go. Midnight tolls from some far-off church bell, each chime echoing through the crooked streets, as though counting down to something you don't yet understand. The note in your pocket feels heavier with every step. Midnight. Limehouse. Ask for the lantern room. Asterisk the streets narrow the deeper you go, closing in like a throat. Lanterns hang crooked on their posts, their glow soft and sickly, barely enough to illuminate the slick cobblestones beneath your feet. Somewhere nearby, a man coughs so wet, hollow. Sound. A door slams. A woman laughs, the sound sharp and brittle, like glass about to break. Every instinct screams that you shouldn't be here, that you should turn around, vanish into the fog, and forget the sisters ever spoke your name. But you keep walking. The lantern room is hidden behind an unmarked door at the end of a narrow alley. Only the faint symbol carved into the wood of spade, almost invisible in the dim light, tells you that you've found the right place. You hesitate, then knocked at the door, opens without a sound, revealing a man with a face like carved stone and eyes that don't blink. He says nothing, just steps aside to let you in. The air inside hits you like a wave, smoke and sweat and the sweet, cloying scent of burning opium. The room is low and narrow, lined with velvet couches where men and women recline in twisted shapes, their faces slack with pleasure or pain. You can't quite tell which. The only light comes from a cluster of paper lanterns strung along the ceiling, their glow casting strange shadows across the walls. First time? A voice asks. You turn to see a woman sitting near the far corner. She's dressed in silk that's seen better days, her hair pinned with cheap pearls, but her eyes are sharp, alert to awake for someone in a place like this. Don't look so frightened, she says with a half smile. We were all new once. You don't answer. Your eyes are on the figure at the back of the room, tall, veiled, impossible to mistake. The sisters. The pale one watches you with quiet amusement. The fiery-haired one smirks, tilting her head as though daring you to approach. And in the center, the veiled woman stands, still and poised, as though she's been expecting you. All along. You came, she says, her voice soft but certain. You swallow hard. What do you want from me? Her laugh is low, almost kind. We want nothing, she says. We offer everything. The pale sister steps forward, holding a small brass pipe. Its stem gleams in the dim light, and from its bowl curls a thin thread of smoke, sweet and seductive. One breath, she says, and you'll see the city, the hunger, the truth. Your hands tremble. Every rational thought screams against it. But something deeper, darker leans forward, aching for whatever answer waits in that curl of smoke. That the fiery-haired sister grins, as though reading your hesitation. One breath, she repeats. No one ever stops at one. You take the pipe, raise it to your lips. Breathe in. The smoke hits your lungs like fire and honey, burning and sweet all at once. The room tilts, spins, then folds in on itself until you're falling. No. Flying through the city. You see London, but not the London you know. Every alley is alive, pulsing with hunger. Every shadow whispers secrets. Men in Parliament trade. Laws for silence. Merchants in Whitechapel slit throats to guard there. But this time, the city feels different. Alive. Watching. Waiting. And somewhere deep inside, a small, treacherous part of you aches for that moment again. The clarity. The power. The terrible beauty of seeing London laid bare. Back at your flat, you collapse into the chair by the window, staring out at the city that now feels like a stranger. And then you see it slipped under your door, silent as a shadow. An envelope, sealed with black wax. Inside, one line of looping script. A debt is owed. Midnight. St. Hello's. Bring nothing. Your hands tremble as you fold the note, the words burning into your mind. A debt. But what debt? And why, deep down, does a part of you already know the answer? What price have you unknowingly agreed to pay? What waits at St. Hello's at midnight? And will you be able to walk away when the sisters finally call in their debt? The note sits on your table like a coiled serpent. Every time your eyes drift away, they're dragged back to those 4 words. A debt is owed. Midnight, St. Hello's. Bring nothing. You try to ignore it. Try to pretend you never saw it. But as the clock ticks closer to 12, the air in your flat thickens, pressing down on you until breathing feels like drowning. And deep down, you know this is not a summons you can refuse. By the time you step out into the night, the fog is so dense it swallows the gaslight whole, turning the city into a ghost of itself. The streets are empty. Too empty, as though the city knows where you're going and wants no part of it. The closer you get to St. Hello's, the heavier your steps feel, like each one is sinking into quicksand. The church looms ahead, black against. The pale fog, its steeple clawing at the sky. The doors are already open. Waiting. Inside. The air is cold, sharp enough to sting your lungs. Candles burn low along the altar, their flames flickering as though shivering. The pews are empty, but you can feel eyes on you, dozens of them, hidden in the shadows, watching, waiting. And then she steps forward, the veiled woman, still silent, her presence filling the hollow space like a storm about to break. You came, she says, as if there had ever been another choice. You force your voice steady. What do you want? She tilts her head slightly, as though amused by the question. What is owed? She says simply. The pale sister emerges from the shadows, her gaze sharp enough to cut through you. In her hands, she holds a small black box, no larger than a prayer book. She offers it without a word. Your fingers hesitate, but the veiled woman nods once commanding, not requesting. You take the box. It's light, too light. You open it. Inside is a key. Old iron, its surface worn smooth by decades of use. And beneath it, a folded scrap of paper. You unfold it with trembling hands. One address. One name. Evelina Worth. Your stomach twists. Evelina, the girl in the alley. Breath rattling in her chest, whispering warnings that made no sense until it was too late. She's dead, you say, your voice barely above a whisper. The veiled woman doesn't answer. She doesn't have to, because in that moment you realize the awful truth. They don't want you to find her God. They want you to find what she left behind. What is this? You demand, the tremor in your voice betraying you. The veiled woman's answer is soft, almost tender. Your first task, she says, a test, if you like, to see if you understand the cost of what you've been offered. Your pulse hammers. You want to throw the box, the key, everything back at her and walk away. But her voice smooth, certain roots you to the floor. Bring it to us, she says. Before the next moon wanes, do that, and the city will open itself to you. Outside, the night swallows you whole. The key feels heavy in your pocket, as though it's dragging you down, pulling you toward a truth you're not sure you want to know. The address takes you to a narrow street in Whitechapel, lined with crumbling brick. Houses that lean into each other like drunks. Evelina's place is the last one on the left, its windows dark, its door warped and splintered for a long moment. You just stand there staring, your breath clouding the air. Then you force the key into the lock. The door groans open. The smell hits you first, stale perfume and something sour underneath, like flowers left too long in water. Inside, the room is small, dim, everything coated in a thin layer of dust, as though the world simply stopped the night she died. Her gloves are still. On the table, a cracked mirror leans against the wall, its surface spider-webbed with fractures that distort your reflection. You search, though you're not sure what for. Drawers, boxes, behind the bed. And then you find it, a journal, thin and worn, hidden beneath a loose floorboard. The first few pages are nonsense scribbles, frantic scratches that look more like desperation than words. But then, further in, sentences begin to form. They watch everything, every move, every breath. I thought I could outsmart them. Thought I could run. But you can't run from the city. It finds you. It always finds you. If anyone reads this, burn it. Burn it all. Don't let them have it. Don't let them see what I found. Your hands tremble as you flip through the pages. Names, dates, places, meetings in the dead of night. Shipments arriving at the docks. And in the margins, a single phrase repeated over and over. The lantern burns. The lantern sees. The lantern takes. A sound behind you snaps your head up. Footsteps. Soft, deliberate. You freeze. Who's there? No answer. The footsteps stop. And then a voice, low and sharp, right behind you. You shouldn't be here. You spin, heart in your throat. A man stands in the doorway, his coat damp with fog, his face pale and drawn. You don't know what you've started, he says, stepping closer. They'll come for you. They always do. Who are you? You demand. Someone who tried to stop them, he says, and failed. Before you can speak again, the sound of wheels on cobblestones cuts through the silence. A carriage stopping just outside. The man's eyes go wide. They found you. He breathes. Then, without another word, he bolts through the back door, vanishing into the night. You barely have time to react before the front door bursts open. 2 men step inside, their faces hidden beneath low-brimmed hats, their movements sharp and efficient. One grabs the journal from your hand. The other shoves you hard against the wall, his forearm pressing into your throat. Stay away, he growls. Walk away while you still can. And then they're gone, the door slamming shut behind them, leaving you alone in the dark, your breath ragged, your pulse pounding. The journal is gone, but the key is still in your pocket, and you realize, with a cold weight settling in your gut, that you've just stepped into a game you don't understand, and that you're already losing. Back at your flat, you pour a drink with shaking hands, trying to quiet the storm in your chest. But then you see it. Another envelope, slipped under. The door silent as a ghost, black wax. The shape of a spade. Inside, one line written in looping script. The city is watching. Do not disappoint us. You sink into the chair, the note trembling in your hand, and for the first time, you understand the truth. This isn't a debt you can pay. This is a debt that owns you. Who is the man in Evelina's house? What truth did Evelina uncover that terrified her so deeply? And how long before the sisters decide the debt you owe is one you can never repay? Asterisk, you don't sleep. Not after the note. Not after the men. Every sound in the night feels like footsteps coming for you. Every shadow moves in the corner of your eye. By dawn, the city feels different, sharper, hungrier, and you realize something you've been trying to ignore. You're not a spectator anymore. You're a piece on the board, The docks are quiet when you arrive, the water thick with morning mist. The ships sway gently, ropes creaking, sails furled tight like sleeping beasts. You tell yourself you're only here to think, to clear your head, but that's a lie. The journal, what little you remember of it, keeps replaying in your mind. They, names, the dates. The phrase burned into the edges of every page. The lantern burns. The lantern sees. The lantern takes. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings, and then you see her, not the veiled sister, not the pale one, the other, the quiet one, standing at the far end of the dock, her black dress motionless despite the wind, her gaze fixed on the water like she's waiting for it to speak. Your feet move before your mind can catch up. She doesn't turn as you approach, doesn't acknowledge you at all until you're only a few steps away. Then, finally, she speaks, her voice low, almost melodic. They've seen you now, she says. There's no going back. You bristle. What do they want from me? Kai. Slow tilt of her head, as if considering the question. Want? She echoes softly. No, the city doesn't want. The city takes. And you. She finally looks at you, and her eyes pale, almost silver cut through you like cold steel. You've been chosen to give? Asterisk before you can respond. A horn blares from the river. A ship glides out of the fog, massive and silent, its flag tattered, its name painted over. The quiet sister steps closer, her whisper barely carrying over the water. Do you know what they carry? You shake your head. Powder, she says. Dreams, nightmares, oblivion all, wrapped in silk and sold by the ounce. Enough to keep the city asleep while it rots from the inside. Opium, of course. You've seen it before, in drawing rooms. And back alleys, in the hollowed eyes of women who've forgotten how to want anything else. But this is different. Bigger, darker, double quotes. The lantern. You say, your voice then. It's them, isn't it? They run the shipments, the houses, everything. The sister doesn't answer. She doesn't have to, because in that moment, you understand. The sisters don't just know about the lantern. They are the lantern. Your chest tightens. Why show me this? A faint smile, sharp and cruel. Because you asked, she says, and because you owe. The ship groans as it docks, the sound echoing through the fog. Men swarm the deck, hauling crates that look too heavy for their thin, wiry frames. And then you see it, a mark, burned into the side of each crate. A lantern. The sister steps closer, her voice so quiet you almost don't hear it. Evelina tried to stop us, she murmurs. She thought the city could be saved. A pause. She was wrong. A chill ripples through you, but you force the question out anyway. And me? What do you want from me? She tilts her head again, her pale eyes glinting in the thin light. Not want, she says softly. Need. You don't get to ask what she means, because that's when the scream shatters the morning dot. It's distant, but sharp, desperate. You whip around, searching the fog. Another scream, closer this time, echoing off the water. The sister doesn't move, doesn't flinch. And then you see it on the far end of the docks. A girl running, her hair loose and wild, her dress torn at the hem. She's looking over her shoulder, terror etched into every line of her face. And behind her, 3 men, dark coats, low hats, moving like walls closing in on prey. You don't think, you run. The fog claws at your throat. The wood of the dock slick beneath your boots, but you don't stop. The girl stumbles, catches herself, stumbles again. By the time you reach her, she's cornered, her back against the edge of the dock, the black water churning behind her. One of the men steps forward. His voice is low, almost calm. Come quietly, he says, and it won't have to hurt. The girl shakes her head violently. No, I won't go back. You don't know where the courage comes from. Only that it surges through you like lightning. Leave her, you snap. Stepping between them, the man laughs a sharp, humorless sound. And who are you supposed to be? Your hand tightens around the iron key in your pocket, its edges biting into your palm. The man's smirk fades slightly, his eyes narrowing as they drop to your clenched fist. A moment passes tense, sharp, before he jerks his head. Toward the others. Not worth it, he mutters. And just like that, they melt back into the fog. The girl collapses against you, trembling. Thank you, she whispers, her voice hoarse. You pull her upright gently. Who were they? What do they want? Her eyes dart around, wild and panicked. They think I know, she breathes. About the ships, about the sisters, about... She stops, swallowing hard. About the debt. Your blood runs cold. What do you know? You demand Dot, but before she can answer, a sharp whistle cuts through the fog. Dot, her face drains of color. No, she whispers. No, no, no. And then she's gone, slipping from your grasp and vanishing into the mist like smoke. Dot, by the time you stumble back toward the main dock, the quiet sister is gone too. Dot, only the ship remains, its dark silhouette hulking against. The pale morning. Dot, and the crates. Hundreds of them. Dot, each one marked with that same black lantern. Dot, back at your flat. The city feels smaller, the walls closer. You pour another drink, but it does nothing to quiet the pounding in your head. The girl's voice, the sister's pale eyes. Evelina's words in the journal. Dot, the lantern burns. The lantern sees. The lantern takes. Dot, and then, as the sun dips low and the city hums with the restless energy of night, you hear it. A knock. Dot, slow, deliberate. Dot, 3 times. Your stomach twists. You open the door. Dot, and find an envelope. Dot, no wax seal this time. Just a thin card inside, the words written in that same looping script. Midnight, the river. Bring nothing but the key. Who was the girl on the docks? Why do they want the key? And what will happen when you meet them at the river alone? At midnight, the city never truly sleeps. Dot, not here. Not now. Dot, by midnight, London breathes differently, slower, heavier. The fog clings to every stone, every lamppost, every shiver running up your spine. The river murmurs in the distance, a restless creature waiting for you. The key feels heavier than ever in your pocket. Like it knows, like it doesn't want to be where you're taking it. You walk the narrow streets toward the docks, your boots echoing in the quiet. Every window you pass feels like an eye. Every shadow seems to lean toward you. Dot, and with every step, a thought gnaws deeper into your mind. This could be a trap. When you reach the river, it's worse than you imagined. The fog is so thick you can barely see the water, only hear it lapping against the stone, pulling and pulling as if it wants you to fall in. A single lantern swings gently on the pier. Its light is dim yellow, sickly. Dot, and under it, a figure waits. Dot, tall, still, face hidden by the brim of a hat. Not a sister, not anyone you recognize, but somehow familiar. Do you have it? The voice is low, smooth, but there's something sharp beneath it. Dot, you hesitate, your fingers brushing the edge of the key in your pocket. Yes, you manage. What is it for? What does it open? The man tilts his head slightly, as if amused. You'll find out soon enough. Asterisk, you don't move. Neither does he. The fog curls between you like something alive. Dot, and then, from somewhere in the darkness, the soft scrape of boots on stone. Your pulse spikes. Shapes emerge from the mist. 3, 4, maybe more. Men in dark coats, hats pulled low, their steps unnervingly quiet. You take a step back, and the man under the lantern smiles. Ah, he says softly. They've found you. The figure's close and fast. Too fast. Dot, you spin, ready to run and slam straight into someone. The world tilts. Dot, hands grip your arms like iron. A voice hisses in your ear, low and urgent. Don't fight. Not yet. You're yanked sideways, dragged through the fog, away. From the docks, away from the river. Your boots slip on the wet cobblestones, your breath tearing out in sharp, panicked bursts. You want to scream, but you don't, because somehow, deep down, you know this isn't someone trying to hurt you. This is someone trying to save you. When you finally stop, you're in an alley narrow, dark, the smell of damp brick and rot wrapping around you. Your pulse is a drum in your ears. And then you see her, not the quiet sister, not the one from the docks. A new face, sharp cheekbones, dark hair pinned tight under a hood, eyes so piercing they almost glow in the shadows. You're a fool, she says flatly. Walking into a meeting like that. Do you want to die? You swallow hard. Who are you? She doesn't answer. Instead, she glances down the alley, listening. Every muscle in her body is tense, coiled, ready. Then she looks back at you, her expression cold but focused. Give me the key. No, you say, surprising yourself with the steel in your voice. Not until someone tells me what it's for. For a moment, the only sound is the distant hum of the city. Then slowly, her mouth curves into something that isn't quite a smile. You have no idea. She murmurs suddenly. A noise boot's pounding somewhere nearby. She curses under her breath, grabs your wrist, and pulls you deeper into the labyrinth of alleys. Your heart is a wild animal in your chest. Every sense screaming to turn and run the other way. But her grip doesn't loosen. Not until you're standing in front of a door, so small and nondescript, it looks like it could crumble under a strong wind. She knocks twice, pauses, knocks once. More. The door creaks open, and what you see inside makes your stomach twist. A room, dimly lit, the air thick with the bitter, metallic tang of opium. Women sit slumped against the walls, their eyes glazed, their breaths shallow. Some are so thin they barely look human anymore. And at the far end, a girl, not older than 16, her wrists bound, her face pale, streaked with tears. You freeze. The woman notices. This is what they do, she says quietly. This is what the lantern feeds on. Dreams, pain, debt, and when there's nothing left to take, she gestures to the girl. They take the body too. Your throat tightens. You've heard whispers of this. Of girls disappearing. Of women who never came home. But seeing her is different. The woman steps closer, her voice low, urgent. That key you're carrying? It opens the archives, names, ledgers, the proof of everything they've done. Her eyes bore into yours. If you're smart, you'll destroy it before they destroy you. Before you can respond, a sharp bang rattles the door. Then another. Voices shouting. They found you. The room erupts into chaos. Women scream. The girl in the corner thrashes against her bindings, her voice hoarse with terror. The woman grabs your arm, shoves you toward a narrow staircase at the back. Go, she snaps. Upstairs. Now. You hesitate. What about you? What about another crash wood splintering, men's voices flooding the room? Go. She screams. You run. The stairs are narrow, steep, every step slick with something you don't want to think about. Above you, a hatch. You shove it open, pull yourself into the icy night air. The rooftops stretch out before you, jagged silhouettes. Against the black sky, somewhere below, the chaos continues, shouts, screams. The sickening sound of fists meeting flesh. And then a shot. Asterisk, your stomach. Drops. Another shot. Then silence. You don't look back. You just run. The key clutched so tightly in your hand, it leaves a mark, your breath tearing through your lungs like fire. By the time you reach your flat, the city feels like it's holding its breath. No footsteps, No voices. Just the low, steady hum of a world pretending nothing happened. But you know better. You lock the door. Bolt it. Check it twice. Then you sit and wait. Your mind won't stop spinning. The girl. The ledgers. The woman with the piercing eyes. The way her voice trembled. Just once when she told you to run. And then, just when your heartbeat has begun to slow, you hear it. Not a knock. Not footsteps. A voice. Low, smooth. Right outside your window. Do you really think you can keep running? Who survived that night? What's truly in the archives? And most dangerous of all, who is the voice at your window? The sound freezes you. Not loud, not sharp. Just soft enough to curl around your spine and squeeze. Do you really think you can keep running? The room shrinks. The air thickens. Every instinct screams to not move, to not breathe. And then, a faint scrape. Something brushing against the glass. You inch toward the window, every step a war. The street below is cloaked in fog, the lamplight barely carving slits through the dark. No one is there. At least, no one you can see. Who are you? You whisper, your voice shaking despite your effort to steady it. Silence. And like a whisper riding the fog, you have something that doesn't belong to you. The key. Your hand instinctively flies to your pocket, pressing against its sharp edges. You want to deny it. You want to slam the window, block out the voice, the city, all of it. But you can't, because deep down, you know, they're not asking. They're warning. A knock at your door shatters the silence. Not timid, not polite. 3 sharp raps. Freeze again. A second knock, harder this time. Then, a voice, not the one from the window, but another, deeper, rougher. Miss, we know you're in there. Best to open up. Your heart claws at your ribs. If you stay quiet, maybe they'll leave. If you open the door, you're theirs. Neither option feels like survival. Another knock. No. A pound now, rattling the frame. And then silence, the kind of silence that means someone is listening, someone waiting. And then, just when you think you might be safe, a faint metallic click near the lock. They're not waiting anymore. You bolt. Through the back room, out the narrow alleyway behind you, flat into the endless maze of damp streets. Your boots slap against the stones, echoing in the sleeping city. You don't dare look back, but you hear them. Footsteps. Closer. Faster. You turn corners blindly, lungs burning, until you spill into a market square, empty but for the remnants of g'day overturned crates, scraps of paper swirling like restless ghosts, and then a hand grabbing your arm, pulling you hard into the shadows. You struggle, panic rising, until a familiar whisper cuts through the chaos. Stop fighting. It's the woman from the alley. The one with the sharp eyes. Relief hits you like a wave, but it's swallowed instantly by dread. They're everywhere, she hisses. They've put your name on the list. You're marked now? Marked? Your voice cracks. For what? She glances over her shoulder, scanning the empty square like it's alive. For disappearance. The word chills you more than the fog. You've heard the stories. Everyone has names whispered in the night. Faces on fading posters. Women who simply stop existing. And now, she doesn't give you time to argue. Come, she says her. Grip iron. There's only one way to survive this, and it's not here. You're led through a series of backstreets, places where even the city seems afraid to look. Walls dripping with damp, doors boarded up, the air so thick it feels like breathing ash. Finally, you reach a narrow stairwell that spirals underground. Down. She orders. You hesitate. Do you want to live or not? You follow. The stairs seem endless, each step taking you deeper into a world that doesn't belong to daylight. And then, finally, a room. dimly lit, the smell of ink and old paper, and people 5, maybe 6 of them clustered around a large wooden table covered in maps and ledgers. When they see you, the room stills. Whispers rise. She's the one. She has the key. The woman closes the door behind you. Everyone, she says, her voice sharp but steady. This is the girl who found the ledger key. A man with a scar slicing across his cheek steps forward. His eyes are hard, but not unkind. Do you have it? You nod, your hand tightening around the cold metal. Good, he says, because that key is the only thing keeping the rest of them alive. The words hang heavy in the room. The rest of who? You manage. The woman meets your gaze. The women you saw. The ones you didn't see. All of them. They explain everything. The syndicate called the Lantern. How they lure women in with promises work, shelter, medicine, and trap them in cycles of debt and addiction until escape is impossible. How they keep meticulous records of every deal, every debt, every name locked away in the archive the key can open. And if we can get those ledgers, the scarred man says, we can expose them, burn them from the inside out. Your stomach knots. You want me to help, you say slowly. The woman steps closer, her gaze unflinching. We don't want you to help, she says. We need you to. You want to refuse. You want to run, hide, forget, but the image of the bound girl flashes behind your eyes, her tear-streaked face, her whispered plea. Help me. Before you can answer, a tremor ripples through the room. Then another, then an explosion. The walls shake. Dust rains from the ceiling. Screams echo in the tight space. Move. The scarred man roars. Chaos erupts, papers grabbed, candles snuffed, hands pulling you toward a narrow escape tunnel. Another explosion. Closer this time. A sound of footsteps pounding above. They've found you. You stumble through the tunnel. Heart in your throat. The air so thick with dust it chokes you. And then a deafening crack. Darkness. Silence. When you wake, you're alone. The tunnel around you collapsed, a wall of rubble blocking the way you came. Your head throbs. Your hands shake. Asterisk. And in your pocket, the key. Still there. Still heavy. But now you don't know who's alive, who's dead, or how far you are from the surface. And somewhere, faint but unmistakable, a voice drifts through the cracks in the rubble. Low, smooth, almost amused. You can't run forever. Who betrayed the hideout? Who survived the blast? And is the voice in the dark an enemy or someone much, much worse? Darkness isn't quiet. It moves. It breathes. It listens. And in that suffocating tunnel, buried beneath half a city, you swear you can feel it pressing in. Your hands scrape at the rubble, nails tearing, but it's no use. The rocks don't budge. The air is thin, foul metallic with the taste of smoke and soot. And then, that voice again, calm, smooth, almost playful. You're stubborn. I'll give you that. Your pulse spikes. Who are you? Silence. A laugh low. Quiet, almost tender. Not your enemy. Not yet. Not yet. The words cut deeper than the dark. Then footsteps, soft, careful. Getting closer. You scramble back until your spine hits cold stone. Every muscle locked. And then light. A small flame, flickering in the gloom, revealing a figure crouched just beyond the wall of rubble. A man, young, maybe no older than 30. Hair slicked back, clothes too fine for these tunnels. A gold pin glints at his lapel, the shape of a lantern. The lantern. Lovely, isn't it? He says, his voice soft as silk. How the city breathes when no one's watching. Down here, it's honest. No masks, no lies. Your stomach twists. You You did this, you whisper. He tilts his head, almost amused. Did I? Or did you, when you went sticking your hands where they didn't belong? Your hand instinctively grips the key in your pocket, his eye sharp, too sharp flick to the motion. Ah, he murmurs, like a cat finding a mouse. So it's true. You have it. You want to lie. You want to scream. But all you can do is stare. He smiles. A slow, dangerous thing. Do you know what you're holding? What that little scrap of metal means? You don't answer. It's not just a key, he says, leaning closer to the rubble. It's a death sentence. For you, for anyone you've touched, for anyone you ever will. The words lodge deep, heavy, and cold. You have two choices. He says, voice low, deliberate, give it to me, and walk away. Or keep it, and drown in what comes next. You think of the girl in the alley, of the ledger, of the promises, of the screams when the tunnel collapsed. No, you whisper, the word trembling but clear. The smile fades. For a moment, just a moment, his eyes darken, not anger, not pity, but something worse, not disappointment, not double quotes. So, be it, he murmurs. But when they come for you, and they will remember this moment, remember that you could have walked away. The light vanishes, and you are alone again. Asterisk, time bleeds in the dark. Minutes, hours you can't tell. The air grows thinner, the pounding in your skull sharper, until a distant rumble. Voices, hands, clawing at the rubble from the other side. And then light, real light this time. Rough hands pulling you through the narrow gap, coughing and gasping, into a pocket of air so sweet it almost hurts to breathe. The woman is there. Alive. Her face is streaked with soot, her clothes torn, but her eyes sharp, unbroken lock on yours. You're alive. She breathes. You almost collapse into her. Relief and exhaustion tearing through you all at once. But the relief doesn't last. Who betrayed us? You rasp, her jaw tightens. We don't know, she says. But whoever it was, they knew exactly where to strike. They guide you through another stretch of tunnels, deeper this time, to a hidden chamber where the others, those who survived, wait. In stunned silence. Half the group is gone. Dead. Or worse. The scarred man is there too, arm bound in a makeshift sling. When he sees you, his expression hardens. They'll come harder now, he says. They know we're still breathing. And they know you're with us. The weight of his words crushes you. You didn't choose this war, but here you are. In it, and there's no way back. The woman pulls you aside, voice low. You saw him, didn't you? You don't ask how she knows. You just nod, then listen to. Me, she says, her voice sharp. He's not just another thug. He's the lantern's blade. When he marks someone, they don't live to see the next season. Why me? You whisper, the question tearing out of you. I didn't ask for this. I didn't even know what I was holding. Her gaze softens just for a heartbeat, because sometimes, she says, the city chooses its own soldiers. Before you can respond, the scarred man calls for silence. We move tonight, he says, the ledger vault. Before they can shift it, before they bury it. The room erupts arguments, fear, anger. It's suicide, one man snaps. They'll expect it, another says. But the scarred man doesn't waver. We get that ledger, or we die with nothing, he says. And if we die, so do they. His eyes find you. You started this, he says. You're finishing it. You want to argue, to scream, but deep down you know he's right. The key burns in your pocket like a brand. Night falls heavy over. The city. You move through the streets like ghosts, every shadow a threat, every footstep too loud. The vault is in the heart of Lantern territory, a converted opium house. Abandoned to the public eye, but alive beneath the surface. The plan is simple. Get in, unlock the vault, get the ledgers. Get out. But plans in this city rarely stay simple. Inside, the air is thick with the ghost of smoke and perfume. The walls hum with the faint sounds of distant voices. Every creak of the floorboards feels like a shout at the far end of the cellar behind a rusted iron gate. You find it the vault and the lock that fits your key. Your hands shake as you slide. It in click the sound echoes like a gunshot. The door groans open, revealing rows of ledgers, shelves upon shelves of lives, cataloged and sold names, dates, debts, chains, made of ink and numbers. The woman whispers, "God help us." You move quickly, grabbing as many ledgers as you can carry, stuffing them into sacks. Every second feels borrowed and then sound not the creak of the building, not the rustle of papers. A footstep, close, and then another and another. The scarred man curses under his breath. They know. The first shot rings out wood splinters near your head, the sound deafening in the tight space. Move. Someone yells. Chaos erupts, shouts, gunfire, the hiss of lanterns breaking and spilling flames across the floor. You run. Through the smoke. The noise. The heat got the ledgers heavy in your arms. Your lungs screaming, and just as you reach the alley, just as the cold night air kisses your face, figure steps out of the shadows. The man, the one with the lantern pin, his smile slow, patient. Somewhere? He asks, is escape even possible now? And if you do get away, what price will you pay to keep what you've stolen? The alley feels too narrow, too silent, too still, and then you hear his voice, smooth as silk, laced with venom. Did you really think, he says, stepping closer, that you could steal from me and walk away? You freeze. The ledgers in your arms feel impossibly heavy. Your lungs burn, every breath sharp with smoke and terror. Behind you, the others skid to a halt, weapons half raised, eyes darting between you and him. The man with the lantern pin smiles cold, calculated. Run, he says softly. Please, give me a reason to make this entertaining. No one moves, not until the scarred man steps forward. Slow, deliberate. You're going to let us pass. He growls. A soft laugh. Oh, the stranger. Says, tilting his head. You think you're negotiating. That's adorable. The next moment is a blur. Steel flashes. Gunfire cracks. The world erupts. You're shoved backward as the scarred man lunges, blade clashing against blade. Sparks shower the alley, screams. Echo, boots scrape against cobblestone. You clutch the ledgers tighter and run. The woman yells your name, but you don't stop. You can't. Every instinct screams, get out, get out, get out. You don't stop until your legs give out blocks away, collapsing in the shadow of an abandoned cart. The ledgers spill around you, pages fluttering in the night breeze like broken wings. For a moment, the city is quiet. Too quiet. Then a single gunshot. Far, away. Sharp, final. And silence again. Your stomach turns to ice. You force yourself up, fingers shaking as you gather the scattered ledgers. Your breath is shallow, ragged, every sound amplified in the oppressive night. Somewhere, a door slams. Somewhere, a child cries. Somewhere, you swear you hear laughter low, mocking, familiar. By the time you reach the safe house, dawn is bleeding into the horizon. The others are already there, bloodied, broken, hollow. The scarred man isn't. No. One says his name. The woman looks at you, eyes rimmed red, jaw tight. You got them? She asks. You nod, dropping the sacks onto the table. She exhales, shaking hands, fumbling to open the first. Ledger. Pages and pages of names. Women, children, debts, payments. Lives reduced to lines of ink and numbers. This is everything. She. Whispers. Everything they need to burn the lantern from the inside out. But her eyes, when they meet yours, are filled with something colder. Fear. He'll come for us, she says. For you, for anyone who so much as touched these pages. You don't sleep that night. Or the next. Asterisk or the next. Every sound feels like a threat. Every shadow holds a blade. The city hums with tension. Markets quieter. Taverns emptier. The cheaty, the watch suddenly everywhere and nowhere all at once. And always, always. You feel him. Watching. Waiting. A week passes. Then 2. And then the fire. It starts in the south. Doxa. They say accidental. Nothing to see. But you know better. By nightfall, the flames have spread, devouring entire blocks, turning. The sky a choking, endless orange. The woman finds you in the chaos, her face streaked with ash, her voice hoarse. They found one of ours, she rasps. They're burning us out. By morning, half your network is ash. And the message is clear. Run. Or burn. But you don't. Run. You can't. Not with the ledgers still in your possession. Not with the city bleeding for secrets. You helped dig up. So you make a choice. A terrible, impossible choice. You write a letter short, sharp, desperate, and you send it straight to him. The meeting is set for midnight. The docks. Neutral ground. If such a thing exists anymore, you go alone. Every step feels like a death sentence. The city is silent, as if holding its breath. Even the rats seem to have disappeared. He's already there when you arrive, leaning casually against a post, the lantern, pin glinting faintly in the moonlight. Like he's been waiting all his life. Brave, he says. Or very, very stupid. Your throat is dry, your voice barely steady. You want the ledgers, you say. I'll give them to you. All of them. But you let the others go. You stop burning the city. For a moment. Just a moment. Something. Almost like pity flickers in his eyes. Then he laughs. Oh, darling, he says softly. You still don't understand, do you? He steps closer, his voice low, sharp. This city doesn't burn because of me. It burns because of them. The ones who buy, the ones who sell, the ones who look away. You think giving me those books will fix it? That handing me the rope will keep me from tightening it? He leans in, so close you can see the glint of steel in his gaze. You've already chosen your side. And there's no walking away from that. Your hands tremble. For a moment, you think you might drop the bag, but you don't. You hold his gaze, and you lie, they're yours. You say, every page, every name. He smiles. Slow. Dangerous. Good, he says. Then maybe you'll live to see the next season after all. But when you leave the docks that night, your hands are empty, and your hiding place is still full. The next days blur. More fires. More bodies. More whispers in the streets about the shadow war no one dares name. But then, break. The ledgers leak. Not to the lantern. To the watch. To the people. Pages plastered across walls. Nailed to tavern doors. Scattered through markets. Names. Transactions. Proof. The city erupts. Anger. Fear. Chaos. The lantern tightens its grip. But the people are no longer quiet. They're done being quiet. And for the first time in months, maybe years, you feel something like hope. It doesn't last. You find the woman in the safe house 2 nights later. Her body cold. Her throat cut. Her eyes wide and empty. No note. No sign of struggle. Just silence. And you don't need a message to understand. This was his answer. Grief is a strange thing. It doesn't come in waves. It comes in knives. Slow, sharp, endless. You bury her where the river bends, where the city lights can't reach. And then you burn the safe house. The next morning, the papers are full of noise, rumors, accusations, chaos. But none of it matters. Because you know the truth. Because now it's just you, Dot, and him. The last confrontation isn't planned, Dot, it just happens. A quiet street. An empty hour. Two shadows. Colliding in the dark. He doesn't smile this time. Are you here to kill me? He asks. You don't answer. You just raise the pistol. For a moment, the world stops. Dot, the city. The night. Everything, Dot, and then a single shot, sharp, final. When the echoes fade, you're alone. The body at your feet, nothing more than a silhouette. The lantern pin glinting faintly in the gutter. The city doesn't cheer, Dot. It doesn't even notice. But you do. You notice the silence, the kind of silence that feels like an ending. Dot, by dawn, you're gone, Dot. No one sees you leave. No one asks where you've gone. No one remembers your name. But somewhere far from the city, far from the ashes, you carry the ledgers. Dot, every name, every debt, every truth. Because someone has to remember, Dot, and in the quiet, you wonder if maybe, just maybe, that's enough. They still tell the stories about the fires, about the ledgers, about the ghost in the alleys who burned the lantern to the ground. Some call you a hero. Some call you a traitor. Most just don't say your name at all. But you know better. There are no heroes here, only survivors. And the weight they carry. Asterisk, and as the sun sets over some faraway town, you open the last ledger. Fingers tracing the names, each one a promise, each one a debt you'll never be able to repay. But you'll try. You'll keep trying. Because the city may have taken everything, your home, your friends, your past, but it never took your choice. And that, in the end, is what keeps you moving forward.